Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your girl, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. But listen, my guest today is everything boss. Listen, when you think of a boss chick, you better envision Teresa Murphy because she should be top of the list. Teresa Murphy, how you doing, girlfriend?
I am doing amazing. Oh my God, what a nice intro. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Listen, before I go on, you're welcome. She does it all. She has TMI Inc., Human Resources. She in trucking. She's in transformation. She does. When I'm telling you, she wears so many hats. I'm gonna just ask her right now. What hat you got on today, Teresa? What hat?
Well, today I am just actually Teresa today. I don't have on any hats because I decided today not to work.
Okay. And when she say just Teresa, like that's an understatement because Teresa is amazing. She is one of my dear friends. And listen, she is everything and a bag of chips. Y'all can't see her. I'm gonna have to put this video up because she fly. She got up. She's adorable. So she does so many amazing things. All seriousness. When I first met you, I think you were doing your human resources the most. That was it. And so can you talk to us and tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I started a staffing company back in 2007. And back then it was TAC personnel. So back in 2014, I transitioned it. Well, it might have been 2012, somewhere around there. I transitioned it from staff into an HR consulting company. And so the difference is we were doing a lot of manufacturing, a lot of admin, clerical staffing. And then we transitioned into HR consulting, where we are now do a lot of contracts with Fortune 500 companies on the IT and administrative side. And we also provide HR, human resources consulting services we provide human resources consulting services to new small businesses. And we also are a payroll provider, a background screen provider, and all things HR to small to mid-sized businesses.
Right. And did you guys catch that was like in 2007 and then she transferred it in 2014? I mean, Teresa has always been on it. And when I think of seriously a boss chick or someone who handles their business, I definitely think of Teresa because she grew from that. You know, there's a saying that, party at the summit, when you're at the peak, you party there and then you find your next trail, like what I'm doing next. That's definitely Teresa. So she got this she has her company running. She's doing all, then she said, oh, I'm going to do something else. What else
Absolutely.
did you add? What was the new one?
Well, since TMI Consulting HR, I also went into trucking, into the transportation industry.
Yes, yes.
So we now have 5 trucks. Those are the 18-wheelers. And we have 5 drivers. And so that is TMI Transport. And so we haul freight throughout the United States and we do over-the-road transportation. I've been now into trucking for about the past 8 years. And so that was what else we added under the TMI umbrella, because we're now TMI Group and we now have entities under the TMI Group. So
that's awesome. So when you say trucking, is it that, people contact you when they have to haul things, or how does that work? And first of all, how does that work? And how did you get into that business?
First things first, I got into the business because my husband he's been driving for almost 30 years. And so that's initially how I got into the business, kind of by default.
Right.
And because I never had no interest in trucking, absolutely any, like none. Uh, my background is in HR, was in HR for 15 years before I started my company. So trucking was the furthest thing from my mind. And my husband had been driving at that time for almost about 20 years. And so we decided we were going to join forces and start our own transportation company. And that's exactly what we did. And so pretty much what happens, we have we have an admin, we have a dispatcher, we have our 5 drivers, and then we also have a accounts payable person. And these individuals are the team who keeps TMI transport running. And so as far as the loads are concerned, what happens on a day-to-day basis, our drivers get dispatched out loads. And so basically they work with our dispatch team who actually lets them know where they're going for the week, where they're going to be going for the day, and so on and so forth. And so they go anywhere, Mid-Atlantic, the East Coast. We do we don't go we go kind of go everywhere besides California. So we don't do anything West Coast, but we go as far as Denver, Colorado, Kansas City, Missouri, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Florida. So we're pretty much hauling freight throughout those states, and so they are. And it's the biggest challenge is keeping really good drivers.
Right.
So, yes. So, I started teaching people how to start a trucking business once I got the knowledge that I needed, and then I kind of maintained some success throughout the years. Then I was able to I actually teach other people how to start a trucking business. So
yes, and that's what I was getting to. You know what I love about Teresa is that when she learns something and she does it, she will share and make sure all of us have that knowledge. If you want to become a trucking guru, you want to get in that business, you want to contact Teresa. Tell them how can they contact you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Elizabeth. So if you are interested in contacting me, you can actually follow me on Instagram, TMI Speaks. You can also email us directly. If it's something of interest, you can email me at teresa.murphy@thetmigroup.com. If that's something of interest to you, and we can kind of go over the details. I give webinars. We'll start back giving our webinars starting the first Tuesday in March. I give free webinars every Tuesday. So you can stay tuned for those if you follow me on those social media websites.
Yes, yeah, mark your calendar. Because a lot of people don't realize how lucrative trucking is.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't realize it.
They don't realize there. They don't. When the pandemic hit, we didn't stop rolling. Our wheels kept rolling. They needed us.
You are very essential. Very essential. Yeah. It's crazy because I think I figured that out back in the day, when you're young and you dating and the guy's a truck driver and you're like, a truck driver. And then when you start going, oh, now a truck driver? Because yes, they making them coinages. They like really make money. And it's crazy because those are one of the things that I never would have thought about or put any emphasis on, or, other than they're a nuisance on the freeway, right? That's the only time I'm like, truck in my way, where we going? But when you go behind that and look at the business of it, it's very, very lucrative, very fascinating, and very necessary. It is something that we need. Am I right?
You're absolutely right, because we are the ones that get those items from one place to the next. Okay. So we're hauling whatever, furniture, medical supplies, food, whatever you can think of, like we are hauling it, and we are the ones that are responsible. Our drivers are the ones that get out there every day, and they put their lives on the line as well when they're running up and down the highway, because trucking does not stop. And so, we're definitely needed. I tell a lot of people that want to get into the industry, to be candid with folks, you have to be ready to do the work. This is a different type of industry. It's a male dominated industry. I am trying to get more of my women in the business, but I also tell people you definitely have to come and ready to do the work, because this is totally different outside of anything that I have actually done.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And ready to do the work, that's important for everything, right? You
Yes.
can't. Nobody want to sit back. Well, put it this way: everybody want to be the boss. Everybody want to sit back and say, "Look at me, I'm a boss. I'm a boss." But what they don't realize, and Teresa and I both, own our own businesses, and from day one, we know that, and and they don't see how much hard work that
No,
goes on.
I think what the problem is though, Elizabeth, now from what I see, I think a lot of times, on social media, we always see the glorified pieces
Speak.
of businesses. Nobody really gets on there and talk about their failures. Nobody talks about what it took, the trenches that they had to go through to get to where they are. And
Right.
so that's one of the most important things I do on my webinar. I tell them, I said, let's start with, the cons first.
Right.
Let's start with my failures first, and I also tell people I've done a lot of the work for you. You don't have to go. I've already made a lot of the mistakes for you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But let's talk about the failures because yes, trucking makes this industry is I think it's a $326 billion industry. Okay. So
Right.
yes, this industry makes money. However, there's a downside as it is with any other business.
Correct.
Okay. So you have to be very careful when you just want to jump into something if you're not ready mentally to do the work. As you said, with any business, you have to be ready to do the work. Okay. And so I talk about failures first, then I talk about successes because I think it's important.
That's a great point. I love that because you're dead on. Nobody want to talk about, oh man, I did not get this contract. I wrote up all this stuff and I didn't get
Absolutely.
it. And the times that we stay up all night fretting on this and fretting on that, we don't talk about those things. But
No.
those are the moments that your business is actually developed. That is when you start developing that callous skin. You like, all right, let's go in. You start working harder and harder.
Absolutely.
And that is one thing that I can totally say because I remember when, I'm gonna talk about the Banana Republican incident when we were together, and this is about hard work.
Absolutely.
Because when I first met Teresa, I was here as started off as a blogger. And I was working with Banana Republic, and they wanted me to come out and take pictures. You know how I work and all that.
Absolutely.
Girl was so funny. Teresa came because that's my girl. She come with me, and my husband. You guys know I could talk about him because he don't listen to my stuff, so I'm gonna tell the truth. Listen, he came to one of my events, and what did he ask you, Teresa?
It's like, why do they want to take pictures with her? He was like, why are they taking pictures with her? I'm like, because she's important.
Girl, I love that so much. Like I think about it right now. Like I have
he was like
tears.
oblivious. Like it was so hilarious. And he was so serious though. He was just like, Teresa, why do they want to take? Like, why are they taking pictures with her? That was hilarious. That was really hilarious. And it was hilarious because sometimes the when and I think we've had these conversations. Sometimes when our husbands don't see when they don't see a certain amount of money.
There you go.
If they don't see a certain amount of money, what you're doing is a hobby. And they don't
Thank
realize
you.
that you have to get from A to B, right? To be successful in something, you have to build. So you have to start from somewhere. But why do people want to like take pictures with you? I said, because, not only is she awesome, she's important. What do you mean?
I laugh so hard with that because these are the things that people don't see, right? That's the behind the scene work stuff. Like that's work. You got to put in work, and other people are like, what? What's she doing that for? Like, why? And what's so important about that to me is exactly what you said earlier. When you're putting in the work,
Absolutely.
everything is gravy because that's what they think. Because that's what they see on Instagram. Nobody put up their thing that your husband is doubting you. Like, what?
But guess what? I promise you, I guarantee you, Elizabeth, let me tell you this. And this is what I've noticed. Because, I do with the Teresa Murphy Inc. brand. We, and I know we didn't get to that yet, but I talk a lot
Go ahead.
about those important titles that you can actually use to start either a blog or to start a Facebook group and blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. But I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you, if somebody goes out there, prime example, I'm in a few of these marriage groups on Facebook, and when I
Right.
tell you these women are so candid and straightforward, and I'm like, oh, so you're not the only one that goes through that, Teresa. Everybody
Correct.
just wants these. They show up with like they have these perfect marriages. You know, there's no issues in them, and he's my best
Girl.
friend, and he's this and that and that. Now, granted, you don't have to put all your business on social media, but where I'm going with the conversation, if you can start a group off, it's somebody out here that needs it. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
start a group out right now and say, hey, my husband is not supportive of my goals and my dreams, I guarantee you that
Right.
group will elevate to so many women. You know how many women are, you know how many women dealing with that?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Look, I'm
So I'm
laughing
like,
because. Mm-hmm.
no, really, because it's like women in one of the marriage groups. I know one of the ladies said that she's been trying to kick off her catering company. I think she said for the past 3 or 4 years, but her husband doesn't want her to start a catering company, but he has 3 businesses. So she's
Right.
unhappy, being the backbone of what he has going on, but she can't start her own. But like women, you should have the comments were going ham, of how many women can
Right.
actually relate to that. So I think it's important sometimes that we put out the non so perfect world that we live in.
Right. Right. I
You know what I
agree.
mean?
And yeah, I agree because that's so important because that's a great segue to the other thing that you were. Listen, I'm telling you, she has so many hats. I haven't even pulled them all out yet. She's also an author and talk about your book because that one um is
Okay.
also, you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm
Yes.
going. Go on, say it.
So my first book release was Success Doesn't Sleep.
All right.
And the title and the whole concept, one woman's plan to beat the odds, it came from going through things and actually failures and things that I went through, but how more importantly how I overcame them. And so I give tools and resources for how you can overcome too, and how you need to go through things and not around and under them. And also the importance of self-love. It's so important for us to love ourselves. Okay. So success doesn't sleep revolved around all of that. But more importantly, reading it, the most important tool was defining who you are and kind of what is it that you should be doing for you. We're moms, we're wives. We run the house. We take care of so many. We wear hats, so many hats as a woman in a
Correct.
relationship, in a house, and so forth. It just kind of gives you a lot of nuggets how to get your swag back, for
Right.
yourself. And so I released that in 2014, but I spilled out all of me. So if you didn't know me, you knew me then, and I gave so much of me because at that point I became a certified life coach, and I'm like, okay, you cannot help other women on their journey if you don't let people know what your journey looks like. Okay.
Right.
So what
Mm-hmm.
people see today is not who you were. And I'll let people know I was broke Teresa. And I talked about it because it was really important. And so many women were able to gravitate to me because of that. And
Right.
so, uh, fast forward my new book, which it'll be out soon. It's, edited, ready to go. So what? Your life,
Can't
your
wait.
purpose, live it. And I promise you, it is exactly what it says. So what? And really, so what is about living your life out loud on purpose. And I mean, and I don't mean generally not caring, but not caring and putting yourself first and stop seeking validation. And some of the tools and resources of why we need and how we can stop seeking validations. Because let's be clear,
Yep.
subconsciously, a lot of us still seek validations. Okay.
Yep.
We do.
Yep. Yeah. And,
And
and and a
so
lot of us are still that little girl.
we
We're
are.
that little girl is at
Mhm.
that 5-year old, and we still running around wanting daddy to pick us up, right? And
Yeah.
we want daddy to be proud of us. Um, and
Trapped
I
inside
love
of
the
a grown woman's body. That's what we all are.
body.
We're that little girl trapped inside of a grown woman's body.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Elizabeth. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And
So,
if we don't deal with it, like you said, like, I mean, this is transparent. I've been on her podcast many times. So I'm so honored that she come on to my podcast because she has a successful, wildly successful podcast. It's
yeah,
Monday motivation.
Motivate my life with Teresa Murphy. So
Motivate my
and we're still
life.
going strong, Elizabeth. So
Yes.
we're over right now, over 5,000 plus listeners. So I'm just like, I, I jumped out there on my podcast. It was like 5 years ago. It went by so fast.
Yes, it went by so fast. It went by really fast. So the point is, I want you to be transparent. Hear everything we talking 100. Kick your
Absolutely.
shoes off, because
Absolutely.
women are tuning in because they think they're going through things alone. Like you said earlier,
Absolutely.
there's so many of us experience, and that was our bond.
Yep.
Because
we had a lot in common.
Yes.
We were relatable to a lot of things. So if you and I were relatable to a lot of things, that means there are a lot of other women out here.
That's right.
That need and can be relatable to what we have. So that's why I think those groups, those support groups are important. I'm not a big, I know some people like, oh, I have friends, but let's be clear, guys. Sometimes friends are not always
Say it, Teresa. Say it, Teresa. I see you trying to think it through. Say it. Just go on and tell the truth.
They're not always the best people to go confide in, okay? Because they don't always have your best interests. So you have to be very careful when you throwing around that word friend. I don't use it loosely because I've learned so many lessons from what a friend is. I don't have to talk to someone every day to consider them to be a friend. I don't have to see you every day to consider you to be a friend, because some of those people that you talk to every day and that you're with consistently, they really don't have your best interests at heart. So be careful, really, honestly, what you let flow out your mouth. It's almost like when we have problems and first thing you want to do is pick the phone and call one of your friends. Oh my God, blah blah. And some of them, I'm gonna be honest, they don't care.
They could care less.
They care less. And so you're going to become a topic for them. So they hang up and they call somebody else. Hey, girl, guess what you going for? You know how they do.
I sure do. I don't have that many friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. My circle is very small. But I am like, I think of it as I'm everybody's friend. But I think you also pointed that out to me when I first moved here.
Yes. And one of the things I told Elizabeth when she first moved here, because Elizabeth is a social butterfly, okay? And so am I, right? But I just have boundaries to my social butterflying. So, I told Elizabeth, because she's such a sweetheart, and I'm like, hey, look here, because it was so many things happening with these different new women. And granted, open up the space to meet new folks. I think you should, right? But I'm like, Elizabeth, everybody don't need to know where you live. Everybody's not meant to hang out with you and your husband. Everybody's not meant to, come out with you out of town. You have to have certain friends for certain situations, or you have certain acquaintances. I have women I have known. I've been in Charlotte since 2010, and I have women right now that I have known since 2010 that's never met my husband. They've never met my children. They've never been to my house, because that's not what they're for. But if I'm hungry, I want something to eat. Hey, girl, you want to do dinner? Right? I mean, I'm just like, because I once I feel people out, I position them where they belong, and then you don't get called friends. It's like my homegirl, this lady I know that lives, blah blah blah. I'm really careful about friends. That's because everybody's not. I already know everybody's not my friend. So I'm telling Elizabeth, I'm like, Elizabeth, everybody's not your friend, Elizabeth. And then she'll come and tell me another story. I'm like, listen, that's what I'm telling you. Reposition people. And but she was new here. You're new in town. You don't know anybody. Everybody seems sincere.
Yeah. And then she wasn't lying. She told the goddamn truth, because literally, so my husband always say I live in La La Land. And I get it. I'm from California. Everybody's my friend. I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Everybody's good. The world is amazing. Like, what's up? And then I realized, wait, what? Huh? So Teresa is dead on. You have to be careful who you let into your inner circle, because we all have so many different hats that we wear. And friend hat is a very special hat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And your energy. I don't want that energy in my space, at this age, I don't care to have that energy in my space any longer. And so if that gets down, I only have 2 or 3 people I call a friend at this point in my life, I'm okay with it.
Right.
It doesn't mean I have to be antisociable or anything of that nature. It's just, I'm very careful, how I tread on friends. I've had more support from groups of people I didn't know opposed to people I do know.
Say it.
So, and I'm not, and this is what I learned too. I learned too, Elizabeth, that granted, I might not have something that you want, and that's absolutely fine. You know what I mean? But successes of my friends are important to me. So I try to support them in some kind of way I can,
Right.
including your ebook. And not only did I buy it, I actually read it. You know what I mean? So
Oh my gosh,
so
thank you.
so
Yes.
you're welcome. But at the end of the day, I didn't actually, come on when you released it and said I'm proud of you, but I am proud of you, and and that's support and buying your book and leaving my review and leaving your comment, because it's really important, when it comes to, so you can support people in different ways, but when you just have friends that are, to me, are just dead weight, okay, we, you need to learn how to release them. Okay.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth reminds me of myself, because I used to be a magnet. For some reason, I was a freaking magnet to people that just were no good for me. It's like they flocked to me like flies. And particularly when I moved to Charlotte. That's
Charlotte
how
is
I
a
knew.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's a cliquish city. Okay.
Yes, yes,
And,
yes, yes.
and then a lot of people, it's about what they can get from you. So you have to be careful with the leeches. People will hang around you for what they think that they may can benefit from. So it's just so much when it comes to trying to just, rule people out in your lives that don't belong in your space. And so I'm like, I loved Elizabeth, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna eat her alive. I gotta catch her before she falls.
That
Because she
is
does have
true.
that spirit. Hey, I'm Elizabeth. And they're like, okay, if we see one, see what we can use her for. So and I went through it already. So I'm trying to help, my friend not to go through and make the same mistakes, because I already did that, Elizabeth. That didn't work. And I was here 5 years before you got here, Elizabeth. And I promise you that didn't work.
Yeah,
So,
hear how she say my name, Elizabeth. That's how she said it too, like she was Elizabeth. Come on now. Why you
yeah,
go?
yeah. I'm like, that's not going to work. Okay. So look here, Dale. This is how we're going to do this. And I understood, because I came from
Yes.
DC. I didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
friends here, like absolutely none, zero.
Right.
And it was like, my business allowed me to meet people.
Right.
Right. And so going to networking events and meeting people through business and stuff like that. And so that's what allowed me to meet folks. But I started weaning people out, when you start
Yes.
trying to, you got to be careful with them leeches.
Yes, leeches. That's real. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Like I wasn't. I'm in La La Land. Like, yeah, everybody's cool. Everybody, and then I realized, wait a minute. Teresa is not lying.
Yeah. She
And
would come back and tell me stuff. You remember you would come back and tell me certain situations, and I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, I told you this person had no business at your house.
Oh my
Elizabeth,
God.
I told you. Why were they at your house? We don't even know them. So, it was just
Oh
hilarious,
my
man.
God.
It was. Well, it was just
Oh,
hilarious. It was crazy, but it was like, she
girl.
got it though. It took her a minute, but she got it. And then we realized, like, it was so crazy because we introduced our husbands. Remember that, Elizabeth?
Yes,
Because actually,
Lord.
they actually had a lot in common, and me and
Yes,
Elizabeth had
they
a lot
are
in common
two
about them.
peas. Yes. We was like, no wonder they get along so well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but all good stuff. But because I'm
Yeah.
a big advocate. Like, when it comes to my personal business, I'm very selective and stuff who I'll let in,
And
and it's really important.
that's facts. That's facts. We are all a CEO of our life. We are CEO of
Absolutely.
ourself. And that includes who we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely.
So like you said earlier, it's very draining. It takes a lot out of you. And listen, we boss chicks, we trying to build empires, leave legacies. We trying to leave a
Absolutely.
mark on this world. And it's hard when a leech is like, sucking you
and
dry,
draining my energy. Yes. And they will
draining
suck you
your
dry.
energy. Yes, yes. So it's a valid point, and I look at it like this: as a CEO of your business, and I'm saying you because you are the CEO of you. It's important to make sure you surround yourself with positivity. I know, again,
Absolutely.
I'm in La La Land. One of my friends um, called me La La because I'm always in. She's like, La La, what did you do now, La La? Like, but I believe it in my heart that if we do not um, put ourselves in a positive environment, we're not
Absolutely.
doing ourselves uh, injustice.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could not have even obtained the success that I have today if I did not change my circle and change my mental state of mind and how I think and how I move and things of that nature. So I totally agree with yourself. You are doing yourself a disservice hanging around negative situations. And one thing I tell people, you cannot go back and get, and that is time.
That's right.
So
That's right. That is right. She is 100%. Teresa, listen, when we talk about now, we have already laid the groundwork. You know, she has several businesses. So now we're going to talk about when you want to become a boss chick, what are some of the things that you suggest to people when they like, listen, I want to take my side hustle and make it my main hustle? What are
um,
some of the
well,
things you encourage them to do?
well, the first thing is you want to have some goals. Okay. Because if you don't have goals, you have nothing to look forward to. If you don't have goals, you have nothing to hold yourself accountable to. So if your goal is to transition your hobby into a business, you want to do research. A lot of us are just jumping out there, starting businesses. We're not doing any research. And then by the time we get into business, we've spent a lot of money. A lot of time we realize, okay, maybe I should have taken my business another direction. So whatever your hobby is that you're trying to take to a business, you want to definitely research your competitors, research whoever your vendors, your clients. You want to do all types of research. Okay. It may take you 6 months to a year to do research, right? Don't rush the process. All right.
Right.
But have a goal and have a plan. All right. So what does that look like? You write it down. Okay. If I'm transitioning my hobby into a business, okay, on March 2nd, I want to have my limited liability. I want to have my LLC. By April 2nd, I want to have my EIN. By April 30th, I'm going to be working from home. I'm going to have my implementations, whatever systems I'm going to be using. I'm just throwing these dates out here. You have to have realistic goals and you have to hold yourself accountable when you're transitioning from a hobby into a business, or if you just want to start a business. Another thing you want to do, stop listening to everybody. Okay. The
Yes.
worst, the biggest disservice you do to yourself is listening to what everybody else tells you. Everybody does not need to know your idea. People tell me all the time, I didn't know you were opening up a driving school. I bought a commercial property recently
Yep.
for my driving school. And people are like, I didn't know. It was not for you to know because I don't need all the input. I don't need, and I go and talk to people who are already successful in what it is that I want to do. Okay. So those are the people I'm going to respect their opinions. Stop listening to everybody. Okay. So that's another thing you want to add on your list. You may have that one mentor, that one coach
Mm-hmm.
that you might want to talk to, right? That can kind of help you get from point A to point B, but stop listening to everybody. Okay. Another thing on the list, mentally, you have to be ready to do the work. Okay.
Yeah.
Mentally, you have to be ready to do the work. If you are going through something, um, personal, or you're going through something that's hindering you, something going on with your kids, something going on with your job, it may not be a good time because you have to mentally shift your mindset to
Right.
start a business. Okay. It requires a lot of hours, a lot of time that you might not get paid for up front, and you have to trust the process, period. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are not ready to change your mindset mentally, put that on the top of the list. Okay. Because nothing's going to work if you don't work. All
Okay, I
right.
was just about to say that. Listen, it's all about the procedures and the process. Everybody looking
Hmm.
for perfection. Everybody want that glory. Everybody want that that fame, that acknowledgement of those oohs and ahs. But that stuff comes after all the hard work. So, like you said, first
Absolutely.
you have to focus on the process. Like my whole platform is fit, right? Focus, intentional, and transforming.
Mm-mm.
You can totally take that list, like Teresa just said, you write it all down. Those are your goals. You have to have dates to them, right? So once you have your goals, you have your dates. Now you got to focus on into that and move with intention. You have to intentionally go out and do the work.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, that's key right there. And learn, what do you need? You need to learn for your particular business. What do I need to get started? Okay. Guys, and stop being so cheap. If you need to hire a coach, and stop, and because a lot of us now we're like, oh, I'm going to get a mentor. Because mentorship, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm not going to have to pay.
Right.
But if you are really serious about getting your business started, you're going to the first start and the first
Hmm.
step is investing in yourself. Okay.
Invest in you.
If I had to bet on anybody at any given day, at any given time, I'm going to bet on me. Okay. So investing in yourself consists of you having to pay. You're going to have to
Right.
pay somebody. If you don't have the answers, why struggle for 6 months to 2 years trying to start a business? You don't know where to begin. Now, in paying someone, Elizabeth, let me add this for those that are listening. And paying someone, be careful. Do your research. Don't just give your money away. You want to find out if this person if you want to make 7 figures, you need to find out if the person that you're going to hire to coach you, are they making 7 figures? How can someone teach you how to make 7 figures if they don't make 7 figures? Okay.
Bam.
Uh,
Bam.
okay. How can someone coach you in a business to be successful if they don't even own the type of business that you are trying to start? Some of these things we have to be realistic with, and we have to use honestly. We have to use our mind before we just jump out there and follow the trends. Okay. I know
Hmm.
we live in a social media world. Do your research. If somebody is as good as they say that they are, they should have a portfolio. They should be able to tell you some other businesses that they work with that they were successful. And I'm not just talking about a beautiful website, because we all can get a pretty website. Okay.
Right.
We're talking about stories and testimonials and videomonials and things of that nature. Okay. But invest. Don't waste 6 months to a year trying to start a business because you want to go the cheap route.
Right.
just,
And that's
just
a great point.
Absolutely. So a lot of us don't want to pay. We don't want to pay because it's not anything tangible. So you feel like because it's not tangible right now and I can't touch it, I don't want to invest in it. But we'll go buy shoes because guess what? We can buy them and take them out the store. All right.
Right. Right.
But if you invest in yourself, it pushes you harder to do the work. If there is no
Absolutely.
investment, okay, then you don't have sometimes the motivation and the push to get started. Because what have you invested besides a little bit of your time and wasted somebody else's for them trying to help you and bring
Help
you
you.
along the way? Okay.
Right.
So those are some key points. All right. Don't waste a lot of time if you absolutely are clueless. Get you a coach and invest in one. Do your research before you get one.
So
Okay.
important. So
Right.
important. Yeah. Listen, Teresa, you have been so, how can I say this? So, helpful in so many ways. Um, in not only my life, but so many other women that you have been a mentor for. And guys, I hope you had your pen and paper out because she dropped some nuggets for you today. And I like how she said it, but she gonna bet on her, right? Bet on me.
Absolutely.
God dang it, bet on
Absolutely.
me.
Every time. Every time.
So
Every
I'm
time.
gonna change that to bet on black because that's me. Bet on black.
Every time,
Yeah.
every time, you got to believe in you. You want other people to believe more in you than you actually believe in yourself. I mean, and so it's possible, but you have to do the work. And I
And
mean, that's it.
and not only that, when you say you have to do the work, and I'm really big, and I believe this, and this is like one of my staple questions is, how do you start your day? How do you, when you wake up? What do Teresa do when she wake up in the morning?
Okay, so I pretty much don't use an alarm clock because my body pretty much wakes me up the same time every morning. So I'm normally up by 6 a.m. And the first thing I do, and this is before I even get out the bed for my feet touch the floor, is I have a calm app and it plays like the calming music. I put that on and I have it's like a Bible, but it's a trusting God book. So every day it has a different scripture in it. So before I even get out of bed, before I even go pee, I'm reading
Right.
this scripture. I read the scripture. And a lot of times, with my Calm app on, I read my scripture. I say a prayer, but I'll just sit sometime and just be still. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, because now I'm registered. I'm listening because we're always in a rat race.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing everything fast. So my day
Mm-hmm.
starts off with meditation. I've been doing it now consistently. I don't care if I'm out of town. My day starts out the same. I get up every morning. I'm thankful for all that I have. And I go straight into meditation mode. And some people say, well, how do you meditate? Right. And like I said, I use a calming app.
Yep.
I let the music play. I get into my Zen.
Yep.
Right. And everybody do things differently. And I just sit and be still. Because sometimes you need to do that. Be still before I start my day. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. You a lot of times we need to be still. A lot of times we do, and that's something that a lot of successful people have in common. I do the exact same thing. I meditate before my feet touch the ground. I meditated. I do my Bible study, my devotional every day, and then I start my day. I don't read an email. I don't touch a nothing until
Absolutely.
those things are done. And then, and even sometimes if my husband happened to get up before me and start talking, nope, mm-mm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, no, no, no.
Absolutely.
And
You're in my personal space right now. So I'm going to need a few minutes. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Because sometimes you got to rebuke them too, child.
Okay. Sit back, Satan, sit back. No, but it's so funny because they know it though. My husband knows if he starts talking, I go, he go, oh, you go do your meditation.
Yes.
He knows he back away. Mm-hmm.
Because you got to be careful, Elizabeth, because honestly, how you start your day can determine how your day is going to go. So you got to be very careful. That's why don't call me early in the morning gossiping. I don't want to hear no gossip at 7 a.m. I don't want to hear nothing negative at 7 a.m., And so I have to protect my peace and my mental state for that. Okay. I really don't want to hear gossip, period. But if you want to talk about it, call me later.
Yeah. You can save that. But if it's real
Yeah.
good,
Yeah, call me later then. Call me after 5. We might chit chat about it. But I don't want to start my day off with that. You know what I mean? You get all thrown
Right.
off and everything, and then you get
Yes.
caught up in somebody else's stuff.
In
And I
their
don't want to do
energy.
that.
That's the part we talked about earlier. Your energy
Absolutely.
goes to something else. So listen, I can talk to Teresa. We have to do this again. We're gonna have to
Absolutely.
come back and we're
Absolutely.
gonna do this again because it has
Absolutely.
been amazing. And she has given us top-notch information. Recap it, listen to this again, pause, write it down, go back, write it down, because Teresa is the real deal, Holyfield. Again, how can they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on social media, TMI Speaks. You can also go to my website, teresamurphyinc.com, and our TMI group website is the tmigroup.com. You can go to either of those websites to be able to reach us, or you can just send us an email, admin@thetmigroup.com. But we are Teresa Murphy Inc. on all social media. Well, I'm sorry, on Facebook, and then on Instagram and Twitter and everything, all the rest of the social media sites where TMI Speaks. So that's Tom, Mary, Igloo Speaks. Make sure you're following us.
Yes, make sure you're following us. And before we wrap it up, is it anything else you want to tell the people before we sign out?
Absolutely. I just want to remind you to change your life. You have to change your priorities, and there is nothing more powerful than a changed mind. Okay. And it's not about how knowledgeable you are, it's how you apply the knowledge that you receive. Okay. So knowledge isn't power. Knowledge with action is power.
Oh, drop mic. I'm done. Drop mic. We have nothing else to say. Thank you so much for coming today. You really made my day, and I'm sure everybody who else is listening, they are smiling and they feeling pumped, and because that's true. Get out there and get ready to crush your goals. Until next week, you guys, stay fit.